You still had to make 81. Is this still a tough cut here?
No, this one was relatively easy. This is going all the way back to 2008. So this is the summer before the games. This probably happened in June, I would say.
So this is the Olympic trials. So in the United States, you have to, I mean, similar to like wrestling, you have to win the trials to qualify for that particular division to represent the United States. So this is, you said June before an August Olympics.
Yep.
So here, I just wanted to show this match because what was there's another one. I think you do a pin, you do some nice groundwork in the other one, but in this one,
Fighting a teammate. Former teammate. Oh, there's an old school double leg. I forgot about that. And it's weird to see.
So there, the Travis's opponent, and Travis is setting up here that Sayanagi, posting his left arm and getting it done. That's a big throw. You don't have too many of those big throws on video, because like often on video you're going against the best people in the world. It's tough to get like that much air.
And a lot of times the ones that we do see, and you know, the part that a lot of people don't experience is a lot of those times where I threw people with that throw, it was in training camps. So by the time I got to the competition with these guys, they were playing 100% defense to never let me do that.
Yeah. So you do this here. Are you kind of pulling him down?
No, I'm trying to get him to
come up.
But
are you pulling him down to fake him up?
I'm not doing anything with my left hand.
So here the opponent is
so what I'm doing right now is his head is like in my chest. I'm pressing him to get his head to lift with my chest. So I'm pressing his hand down so I can use my chest to like pinch my scaps and roll his head up so that he wants to pick it up.
And then doesn't he know what's coming here? Oh no, he might not.
Oh no, he knew. He was a former teammate. He knew exactly what I was trying to do.
And that was a really big step with your right foot.
It covers about 4 feet.
So you step
distance,
and your left catches up in like perfect position.
Yeah, you back it up a little bit. Keep going. Right there. This is like an important distinction between mine and everybody else's, is because I split his hip. I actually, once I'm able to split, I no longer need his center of gravity below mine.
Right. And when you say split, you mean you put your foot in between?
I do that split, that 4-foot split.
Yes.
And then when I get my feet back together, it doesn't matter that I'm under his center of gravity or not.
Yeah.
That's why my chest is right around his like sternum height for me.
Yeah. So how does he get, for people just listening to this, Travis steps he does like a big, huge step, gets
like my hip is probably right around his nipple because he's sprawled back so much.
Yeah, that's right. So how does the physics of this work? You're violating the principle of your center of mass being under. Oh, I guess somehow it is. I don't know, but he has nowhere to go. He's screwed.
Yes, that's the kicker. Is the way mine works is, in order for him to play an effective defense, he needs to have his feet firmly planted on the ground with friction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he can't press into me to stop it. So when I get him to sprawl back, when I split his legs, he effectively loses that contact with the floor. Even though his feet are on the floor, they're not in a position where he can drive from them.
Yeah.
Therefore, when I flip, he flips.
So there's a natural like flailing here. So he's not falling forward. You're falling forward.
Yeah.
He's just attached to you. So like you can keep him up there and their like legs would be just flailing.
Yep. One of my golden rules when I'm training and I get really tired, one of the like mantras I would always tell myself is, I'm going to put my back on your chest and then I'm going to put my back on the floor.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be underneath me.
It's a good principle to...
It's very simple. And it, regardless of like all the chaos and how quickly things are happening, It's something I can just dumb everything down to and focus on, regardless of the gripping situation, the footwork, all of that. Get my back to your chest and then put my back on the floor.
So this step of getting your back to their chest, like for people who are sort of more like, for example, for people like me who are just like amateur judo people, like there's all kinds of ways to prevent this turn from happening, the gripping and just everything. How difficult is it at the highest level to get into this position? I mean, you make it look effortless often, but like to get to a position where you're from facing them to your back is to them, is that like strategy? Is that timing? Is that
Timing. It's timing. It's like anything. Like if I wanted to punch you in the face, like how hard is it to really do that if you know you can just play defense and block it?
yeah?
The trick is to get them to play defense to something that never happened.
And then you go through like another way.
And then you just go through what would technically be your first plan if you planned on them playing defense. So I set the stage from the very beginning for this to work.
So then this you're celebrating here. It's a huge sort of once a big accomplishment, big relief to qualify for the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into the Olympics, and this is where I first saw judo, and I kind of thought of them as the same as judo and jiu-jitsu. And I was really impressed by your performance in that Olympics. The footage nowhere to be found these days, but at that time, I think you could watch it live on NBC Olympics or somewhere like that. And I remember watching several of your matches. One of them was the match against Ole Bischoff, the German. And I remember it'd be nice if you can talk to that match because I don't remember it. All I remember is being frustrated
Yep.
by him not letting you play judo.
Yeah.
So obviously you faced him again 4 years later, and there's a lot of frustration there as well. But I remember being extra frustrated in 2008.
Yep.
What was that match like? So he might have been number one in the world at the time or up there.
He was up there for sure, especially going into 2008.
He was really high up there.
Yeah.
And did he win gold at that Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he silvered in London. It was the same Olympic final, both in 2008 and London.
Yeah. Okay, so you're facing him there. Were you intimidated? What was the strategy? Can you talk to that match? Because it kind of sets the stage for the rematch in 2012.
Yeah, he was somebody that I had trained with in the past. And for some reason, when it comes to him and when we trained together, it's more of a physical altercation than a judo training session. Like it's just like the coaches have had to break us up a few times. Like,
oh, you guys get almost like angry too?
A little bit. It always goes, farther than it should. We're friends, like we say hello to each other. But for some reason, when we train together, there's something about like him and me that just oil and water. I don't know what it is.
Could it be also the gripping? Because he's a great gripping strategist. Does he frustrate you with certain kinds of grips and then you get pissed off and then you frustrate him?
And then he gets pissed off and then before you know it, somebody's kicked somebody or punched somebody in the mouth or done something.
Yeah. So one of the only evidences we have online of you fighting him is your foot in his groin area is the only thing we have from that Olympics.
From 2008.
From 2008, yeah.
And to answer everybody's question, yes, it was deliberate.
Now you can say this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember there being a lot of frustration. You're actually going for a lot of stuff like sacrifice throws. I mean, maybe you're not going for the high scoring ippons, but you're just trying to shake things up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because I was so young then and he was, in his prime really at that time, right? He must have been 24, 25, 26, world medalist, European champion at the time. And when he would grab me, I had that sense of feeling stuck. Like I was strong enough if I used all my strength to not let him do anything, but then you can't be offensive when you're using all your strength to hold on to the situation. So I was getting really aggravated because I couldn't generate any offense with every time I felt like I gained an advantage in the gripping scenario, he would take some obscure grip somewhere that was like, well, now I've got to go address this thing, give up what I gained, and I have to go back. And if I were to think about watching the match now, it'd probably look like a lot of flailing because we're just trying to generate enough to not get a penalty, but also not enough to where he could counter it.
Did you think you could beat him like when you were walking into the match?
Until I gripped him for the first time, like, because I had trained with him before, he felt stronger and more in shape than I've ever felt him that day
Olympics.
at that Olympics. Which
So-
begs a whole nother question. But I remember when he grabbed me for that first time, I went, this is different. And there was a sense of panic at the time because I was like, holy crap, where did this come from? This is not the guy that I've trained with, that I expected. Because it was a definite like level change in like his ability, strength, speed, and stamina.
Like looking back at that, can you explain that? Is it just you being more less confident because it was the Olympics? Is there some kind of routine that he followed to like really level up in intensity for this particular event?
I've been told that he only gets to like his prime for like really big events.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't train like year round like I would train. But when it comes to like the games, he doesn't do social media. He doesn't work. He lives, breathes, eats his training for the games, which could, institute that level.
What about you? Is there like Dan Gable famously said, like the one loss he had in college, he was doing a lot of media and stuff. Back then there was no social media. But that was a huge mistake for him. Do you do social media? Do you do like
at this point?
Well, at that time it was like AOL. I don't know. What's 2008?
I didn't even have a Facebook page, MySpace, nothing at this point.
Yeah.
I got my first Facebook page from the USOC in 2012.
Yeah.
When I went through the media thing, the lady was like, you have to have it. I go, I don't want it. I don't like people. I don't want to deal with the people. What am I supposed to do?
Like the social part of the social media.
No.
Okay. I have to bring this up because, and then you went on to face Thiago Camilo. You lost that match, but you went on to win bronze. That's also an interesting one, but we can skip ahead. I just remember being really impressed both by your groundwork.
That was a match I should have won.
Yeah.
I should have won that. If you don't know judo, you would visually watch that and be like, I'm winning. But he was technically winning on the scoreboard, so it is what it is. But the point that he got that solidified his win, yes, it was a point back in those days, so I can't say anything, but like my shoulder nicked the ground. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of the stories of your Olympic career is like, from a fan perspective, it seems like you should have won or you very close to could have won.
Yes.
And there was a lot of frustration in you and your game being like shut down in certain ways. But like the thing that immediately grabbed me in 2008 was something about the way you approached judo, how much you wanted to win.
Because I was young then. When I was at this time in my career, I was out to like win. Like there was no like, I'm going to grab you, I'm going to throw you. And if not, you're going to go through a battle.
Yeah.
You're going to make sure you earned it.